Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon to you, wherever you are in the rest of the world. Welcome to 3,600 Seconds with Industry Leaders. It's a very special day for everyone in the labor force, May 1st. So, as we observe and celebrate World Workers' Day, we are shining a spotlight on a crucial aspect of our professional lives, and that have to do with workplace relationships. This relationship is actually a two-way traffic. It involves the employers and the employees. After all, without employees, there will be nothing like workplace. You, the employer, you cannot run it all alone. So, joining me today is the esteemed Mr. Olawale Olayinka, who is the seasoned human resources expert. He has come here today with a wealth of experience on how to navigate the complexities of employer-employee dynamics. We'll be discussing, like you've already seen, workplace dramas, not just in Nigeria, across Africa and some other part of the world where the Black community exists. There are always issues bordering on workplace. So we are going to talk about how we can fix the broken bridge between employers and employees today. This is mainly for employees, a treat for them. As they relax, as for you, being an employer of labor, you also have to key in and learn some things that will really benefit you on how to push your workforce to where it needs to be. So, Mr. Olawale, you're welcome again to this show. I'm so excited to dive into this important conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am so excited to be here with you and to be a part of discussion that is very very crucial in our workplace. That
Yeah,
is bridging the gaps between the employees and the employer. I think today we will not be discussing about the dramas around this thing. We are going to be talking about strategies that we can use to fix these gaps. So I am really
exactly.
excited to be here, and I am sure, I am certain this is going to be a segment where people can learn, where people can relearn and also unlearn. Thank you.
For us. Thank you so much. So, with that beautiful and really encouraging um, talk from Mr. Olainka, we have to get this ball rolling right away. So, for our viewers, feel free to ask questions in the chat section. Of course, they're always open for you. If you have questions for Mr. Olainka, I believe we'll be able to address them as the line goes on. Okay,
Mm.
so like you've already heard him say, we are here to discuss strategies on how for most of the these ones. There are many we don't even have to discuss about them. We don't even have to listen. We're not really interested in them. We've had enough of them. Now we want to
Yeah.
know the way forward. We reach the gap. Alright. So now, Mr. Laika, uh, we know that communication is a lifeblood of every existence. And that
Mm.
involves the workplace, not just in the family, community sector. So, we want to look at the area of effective communication in workplace. Of course, we are going to look at both angles from the side of employers and also employees. But let's start with the employers. How can employers ensure open and transparent communication in the work?
Okay. So thank you for that. Effective communication is very, very crucial in a place of work, and one of the most important strategy is that it has to be two ways. You have to communicate with your employee, and then you have to also encourage them to communicate to give you feedback. If communication is one way, then there is going to be a disaster at the end of the day. most employers does not record, do not want two-way communication. They just want to be, giving the orders. They wants to say this, to say that, to tell people what to do. But trying to, be attentive and listen to people to get some feedback has been, problem in most cases, and that is why sometimes we have some of the issues we have. If employers are willing and are able to communicate with their employees regularly, because there is a difference between when you communicate to somebody and you communicate with them regularly. When you set up a
Yeah.
process, an SOP, whereby you can communicate with them regularly, and then when you are communicating with them, you make sure the communication is in a way that they can understand, because at the place of work you have, different levels of employee, especially in, big companies, like, 3,000, 5,000 employees. Sometimes you even have people who does not, speak English that much or read. Now, if you are, bringing out a notice or a memo like that, and they are in English alone, let's say you are in the northern part of Nigeria or in the southwest part of Nigeria, and people that are dominating the place are Hausas or, Yorubas, and within yourself that there are some of your employees, a, important percentage of them who does not speak English or who does not understand, and then you are bringing out your notice alone in English language, and that is all. You are giving room for other people who can speak the language to read it and then summarize it for them. And then when they do that, you cannot control what they say or what they say to the employee. You might have said ABC, and they go ahead and go and spread EFGH, which is totally not the same thing you have said. So when you are communicating, you make sure that it is in a language that people can understand. And also, as I have said, you make your communication regular, and as at the time that the information is valid and valuable. Exactly. Other thing is that you also, make sure that the channel of communication is just not a single channel. You make it multi-channel. You make sure you can talk through mail. There is WhatsApp these days. There is memo on notice board. And all that. Maybe meetings. You organize. And then one-on-one as well. So it's not just, maybe one time you just write something on notice board and that is all. You believe everybody should get this. No, you should also encourage, one-on-one session with your people. If several, many of them are on the mail, you make sure you discuss via mail. WhatsApp is there, whereby you can, create a WhatsApp group, department by department, and this, informations are being shared in the WhatsApp group. So those are the ways where we can improve communication in our workplace.
Splendid. That's splendid. Okay, now let's go over to the employees. Like we told today, we are going to balance justice. So let's go over to the employees. How can they effectively communicate their needs and concerns to the management as well?
Yeah. Also, it is the work of the management to encourage this to happen, because, for example, if Mr. Olawale have, said his mind to the management one time, and they have shut him out, or, treat him in a way that is not pleasant, then you have created a culture where people will not speak up again. No matter what is wrong, they will just be silent, look for a way out, or find a violent way to react to whatever they are supposed to just respond to. So you have to create a culture, a workplace where people respond instead of reacting. Respond is when they are able to, discuss with you whatever. That is number one thing, is to have an HR department that is open to all employees to come. I have seen places where let's say, for example, people's salaries are not, according to what it should be. And for them to go to HR office and complain and say, oh, what I'm getting this month, I don't think is right. I think there is a problem. People cannot go, because they know they are either going to be shut out, or they are going to just hear lies and more lies. You right? And two, you also have to make sure that each time people come to you, they can get two things. They can get, one, solution, and two, honesty. If people come to your office and you are full of lies, believe me, nobody is going to come to you again. So the leaders of the organization, they have an important role to play in this. They must make sure that each and every leader that is in a position, because HRs are not the only ones speaking to the employees. You have the supervisors, you have the line managers, you have the HR, you have people at the top levels that they must train people that are in these key positions to make sure that they are one, are honest with employee as much as possible, and two, whatever solution that is supposed to be gotten for a particular issue or a problem should don't delay what you are supposed to do. So if you encourage this, and then you create an environment where people can make their feelings known without fear of retribution or something like that, then you will have your employee, they'll be more open to you.
That is it. That is just it. Indeed, uh, communication from the aspect of the employees, and they communicate what is in their minds. It will be
Yeah,
easy. They are sure they are in an environment where they will not always be shut up and where they will feel heard. Indeed, that
yeah,
one is very. In fact, this will even lead to some of the common pitfalls, communication pitfalls in the workplaces, because we have so much of this, all around us. From the big names, yeah, this happens to most of the multinational companies we often hear about. But it's often worse in the sole proprietorship sector.
yeah,
Yes, that is, I think, we get the worst of it when it comes to communicating wrongly or not giving their employees the opportunity for them to communicate with them. Now, there are some things too that I believe should be avoided, but let me just mention them and maybe hear your views. So, in Nigeria, we have labor laws. I understand that some of our legal luminaries out there may want to put more light to this, but of course, as HR, it's necessary to be aware of these things because, truth be told, HR staff or personnel are supposed to be more like freelancers in that company. They are for everyone and they are for no,
yeah,
you know, like the symbol of justice in the workplace. If the management are not doing well, hold them on that. If the employees are not doing well, hold them while carrying out many of their inexhaustive works. Okay, so when having someone on board as an employee in a company, there is often, I think there is this code of ethics that the company will often hand over, right?
yeah.
To the
Handbook.
workers, sign, right? They'll sign on that.
Yeah,
Part
yeah,
of what in fact, some companies always embolden that part. If for any reason you're about to leave this company, inform us in 3 months, at the 3 months in advance, so that we can start looking for replacement and all the blah blah blah. I think this got across everywhere, and
yeah.
then they will remember this the labor law. And it's common, it has been observed in places, even the one-man business, where you have maybe one or two persons, they do effect it. This is to the benefit of every company. It's not a bad
Mm.
culture, and for the sake of courtesy, so that your separation will be on the good. It's fine if everyone. But in the case of the employees, or sorry, in the case of the employers, if for any reason these employers want to relieve an employee of his or her duty, does this law also apply for them to give them advance information, like inform them 3 months in advance? Similarly, because I think what is good for the cause is also good for the gander. So do they also have laws like that for them to communicate this to the employee 3 months in advance? That after 3 months, we will not be needing your services. So use the 3 months to start looking for another employee.
Sorry,
How that's it.
sorry, I am struggling with my internet for a bit. Can you come back the last 15-20 seconds, please?
All right, all right. I was making mention of the laws that is
Yeah,
common in most workplaces where you sign your code of ethics and they say when you're about to leave this place for any reason, make sure you inform us 3 months in advance.
yeah,
So we give 2 months. But when it's time for the employers to maybe relieve an employee of his or her
yeah,
duty, does
yeah,
this law also apply for them to give them information well in advance, 2 or 3 months
yeah,
in advance? We don't need
yeah,
you anymore, but we are giving you 3 months to get yourself ready, look for some other place. And of course, while you still be reporting, you will be receiving your pay until they finally let you go. Do we have
yeah.
such effect on this part of the world?
Yeah, yes. Now, according to labor law, this is actually vice versa. This the same thing for employer and for employee. If an employee is leaving an organization, depending on your category and the employment contract that you sign, that is the offer letter. Some companies will
Mm.
state for the commonly is 30 days. Some will say 2 months for people in managerial positions. Some will say three months for people in senior role. Actually, for me, one of the red flags is if you are just an entry level person, right, or a mid level employee, and your notice period if you want to resign is more than 30 days. For me, that is a red flag. You should watch out because if you are not a senior staff, you have not been in a company for over 10 years, why are you holding people down for 60 days before
Mm.
they can leave? The reason why some employers do it is because if you are joining another company and then you tell them your notice period is 60 days, it will be difficult for them to agree with it. We have to wait for you for a whole 60 days before you join. If this is a senior person, they would understand totally, because senior people are not easy to come by. They are very few and scarce with the experience, the skill, the certification, and everything. So they might be patient for them, but for somebody with just 2 3 years of experience or 4 years needs 60 days notice period, then it's a big problem. So if you are joining an organization and their notice period is 60 days or over 30 days, is a red flag. That is number one. Two is, at the employer side, if they are also terminating an employee, if what they are requesting for is 30 days notice period, they are supposed to also give the employee 30 days notice period. But if they don't want to give this 30 days notice period, they can pay them 30 days in lieu of, they can pay them salary of 30 days in lieu of that notice
Mm.
to pay to them. Once you immediately is okay, because at least you have paid for the 30 days that notice you are supposed to give to them, right? On few circumstances, the employer might not give a kobo, a dime, because separation is in different ways. People resign, people get terminated, and sometimes you have people that are you know um how do I call it, summary dismissed. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
Termination can be
Yeah.
as a result of maybe you are not meeting up with your KPI, performance related issues. You are downsizing in the organization and all that. Some little issues like that here and there. But when somebody is summary dismissed, it means the person has committed a serious offense that has led to their dismissal. We are talking of maybe theft, or maybe somebody that has gone to damage company property intentionally, maybe somebody that have done something that can put the company's reputation in serious trouble and all that. So if you have been summary dismissed, or somebody that have just disappear from work for like 5 days or more without reporting to anybody or telling anybody, 5 consecutive days or more ahead, so people like that, if you have done this, it is possible the organization will summary dismiss you like that. They will not give you any notice, and you are not entitled to a 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 days, whatever days you agree in lieu, because you have been summary dismissed, right? But if that is not the case, whatever the company is demanding from you is the same thing that should apply to them when they are letting you go. Is either they give you the, if you're asking for 60 days, they are supposed to give you 60 days in a notice. If they don't want to give 60 days, they are supposed to pay you for 2 months, which is also 60 days if you are not given the
Mm.
60 days. Thank you. But in our country, we have laws, but implementing them sometimes is the problem. You have,
Yeah.
employers, especially in small businesses and sole proprietorship, that are not so popular, and sometimes they just feel that if you don't do it at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Well, which they are right. How long will you
Mhm.
go to Ministry of Labor to go and claim, 1 month salary? You will spend all the money you have, saved on transportation to Ministry of Labor. You cannot afford a lawyer. The police is not going to help you. So some of the employers, they know this and they take advantage of that situation. But in a normal, scenario, the way things should be, they are supposed to give, whatever they are demanding. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks so much. Oh, we have a question here from one of our viewers. Let me
Okay.
get the person excited. What happens when the employer is so nice and open, and the employee takes it for granted and comes up with one excuse or that? Today my baby is sick. Okay, let me highlight it. So we see
Okay.
the question. All right, today baby is sick. Tomorrow my dad died. Next tomorrow my cousin is getting married, etc. Is that not finish at work?
So now this is why in a place of work it is good to be approachable, to be nice and all that. But that is why you have to have SOPs, the way things are done, so that when something is done, it has been, predetermined. This is the way it has to be. You understand what I'm saying? You have to have leave policy, right? You have to have a leave policy. This is the amount of leave you are entitled to, as casual leave, as sick leave, as annual leave, and all that. This is how long you are supposed to work with us before you are entitled to this and entitled to us. If all these things has been drafted and written, and during the induction, when the employees when they are joining, the employees are joining, let them know about this. The HR explain to them, they are aware of all these things, so it's okay. Now, if they are missing work, they know how much work they can miss in a year through leave or whatever. If they are being absent, if they are doing a lot of absence, there should also be a notice, an SOP, that states, like for example, in your handbook, there are some handbooks that don't talk about some things. There are some that are very robust. If you have an handbook that's already states the discipline for absenteeism, then and they have signed it, then you can feel free to apply it, because whether you are nice or not nice, this is not you. This is what the company policy have, already stated, which you are supposed to follow. Which, if the employee is faulting you for that, then they are not holding themselves accountable. Right? They are just blaming everybody around them. So if you have an handbook and then you have a robust induction, you have a leave policy and all these things of grant, you even create an avenue where people can even hold themselves accountable. You understand what I'm saying? You don't even need to tell them this is the punishment for what they are doing. They already know the punishment. And
Mm.
when it comes to being open and being nice, if you are working with people, there is no way you can satisfy them 100%. I am telling you. We can talk of employers that are harsh and all that, but sometimes some employees too, being working in the HR for the past 7, 8 years, I know I can tell you some employees too are, they are unmanageable, they are unruly. You will have, a hard time managing them. So, and that is why you have to make sure you follow the policy. This is not about being nice or being wicked. That is just what the policy says. Fine.
Thank you very much. So, for our LinkedIn viewer who brought up that question, I hope you've been satisfactorily answered. If you have a further thing to say or further questions, please feel free to hit the button. Oh, we have another question. This is coming from uh, YouTube. This time, a YouTube user. Okay, let me highlight the question. Uh, what are some best practices for change of people in the work.
Okay. For change management, change management is a very, very, crucial, element at the place of work that if it's not handled properly, it can really mess things up a lot. But if it's properly handled, then there is no problem. If you are communicating change, depend on the level of people you are. Okay, let me give an example so that everybody will understand. I have worked in a company, a rice mill that at some point we felt the best way for us to get productivity back online is to ban the use of what is it called, smartphones in some departments, production area especially. People that are in the production are in boiler, parboiling department, quality control and all that, because people, instead of focusing on their work, you now have operators, you know pressing their phone on duty, quality control officers, instead of focusing their work, and then you are losing out on quality. You have people who are getting accidents on machines. You are getting more faults because people are not focusing on work. They are on YouTube, they are on Facebook while they are working like that, and then you have given a lot of queries, a lot of notice and all that. Nothing is working. So the management decided the best thing is to, whoever is in that department that needs to communicate with everybody during work hour, they are going to give the supervisor of each department a smartphone where they can send reports or whatever. So that will not be a problem. Small phone is going to be permitted, but any smartphone, we are not going to permit this. Now, for us to do this, we make sure that we send notice out for over 8 months, if I am not mistaken, and every month we have a meeting, we have a lecture, we have a training with people regarding this. We let them know the reason why we are taking it. We let them see instances with proof evidence of what has happened, how our standard has dropped due to this, how our productivity and efficiency has dropped, and what we'll be achieving, and then the things that we have put in place so that they are not going to miss out on information from their parents, their family, or whoever, if anybody wants to reach them at the place of work. We let them know this. And then after we have communicated this for a while, for like 6 8 months, that everybody is now aware that at some point we are not going to be able to use our phone at work. Now, we also create a place where people, when they are coming to work, where you can drop your phone, you get a tag, you go inside. After you close, if you have a phone, you need to use your phone, you can go there, give them the tag, they will give you your phone, you use it, you put it back there. If you are going home, you do the same thing, you give them the tag, they will give you your phone, like that. We made provisions for all these things available. Then one day we put a date to it down, so from so date, people in so department should not bring their phone inside. Drop it with the security at the gate. When you are closing, you can get your phone. Of course, a lot of people abide. Some people will not abide by the rule, they will sneak in their phone. Also, prior to that time, we have already communicated the consequences. What will happen to you if you know refuse to follow what the management say? These are going to be the punishment, like this and like this. And before the day of the implementation, we wrote a phone policy. We give it out to all the people that are, concerned. We let everybody sign, the HR department sign, we file it in everybody's file. That way, we are defending
Yeah.
the organization from any litigation that is coming. And also, we have provided every tools for, the smooth transitioning from that, era to a new era. So that is the best way to manage change, to make sure that you do it in a way that is not going to be difficult, for people, for employees. At least whatever their inconveniences will be, you have to take care of most of it if you cannot take care of all of it. And to break difficult news in a workplace, I for me, there are so many styles. People prefer whatever. Earlier in my career, I have run away from this myself, because you know it is not easy when, if somebody has done what is not right, or they are not meeting up to standard, and then you say they are losing their job, or something is happening to their job, they are being demoted or something. Is okay. If this is what they have caused by themselves, they can see through their KPIs that they are dropping. But let's say during COVID now, and then we just say we don't have a choice, we have to downsize, and 20% of the workforce are going. And there is this is COVID. Where would they get a new work? Where would they get a job? And their families are at home. How are they going to eat? So this is a really difficult news to break. For me, I prefer one-on-one. No matter how it's going to take, how many people is going to handle it, I prefer one-on-one because we are all human. You have to let them know that you also feel what they feel. You are also you need to respect that moment. Try to encourage them as much as possible. If you can even provide some kind of alternative or solution or help, assistance, whatever you can mention for them, you let them know, right? So that they can adjust and go home feeling encouraged. You cannot just type in a letter and then just give it to everybody like that, and like you don't care. But I don't think it's good enough. So personally, I prefer difficult news, no matter how difficult it is, to settle and discuss it one-on-one. Look for how you can assist them, work the words of encouragement, and how you can make them best feel relaxed. That is it. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, we have an appreciation message here. I think that's from LinkedIn, a LinkedIn user. Thank you very much for the elaborate answer. I appreciate it. Okay, I guess that should be the ask question for me.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
There is still another question for YouTube. Another question for YouTube. Um, okay. How can employers establish and maintain professional boundaries with employees? Wow.
Wow, this is a really, really, an interesting
Yeah,
question. An interesting
struck me
because
for
you know boundaries are bedrock of professionalism, right? If you don't respect boundaries, then
mm,
there is no way you can really call yourself a professional. People think when you immediately mention boundaries, people what clicked to people's mind most of the time is how do I call it, sexual harassment or something like that. How do you maintain boundary with your opposite gender and all that? No, but that is not only how you maintain boundaries at the place of work. Number one, you have to teach, because how do I put this? The leaders of the organization, they have to know that um, the most way to communicate culture to your people is when they walk their talk, right? Whatever they say they will do, they are following it through consistently. Now, if you want your employees to respect, to have boundaries, you as an employer, as a leader, must first understand that. Let me give you an example. If your closing time is 5, make it 5. If there is nothing urgent or
mm,
something important to do, let people go home. 5 is their closing time. Let them close by 5. If they are supposed to resume by 8 and close by 5, if they come 8:15, 8:20, you will complain as an employer, right? Fine. But now when it's time for them to close by 5, you are complaining every day. They have to stay till 5:45, 5:50. You are not respecting their time. That boundary, you are not respecting it. Yeah, so that is
yes.
that is boundary. I have once worked with a manager who's you are supposed to tell him when you are closing. I think it's around my first year. By my first year in HR, the first person I work with, you have once you are closing by 6, I close by 6. I have to go to his office and go and tell him, "Okay, I'm closing." If he says I should go, I should go. If he says I should wait, I should wait. Hmm? But I don't like it from day one. I don't think it's fair. My closing time is 6, right? If you want to give me a task or anything you want to assign to me, you give it to me before that. If my closing time, I should be able to close anything after 6, right? So one day I closed around 6:30 to 7. It was all around. He came back to the office. He didn't meet me there. He called me on phone. He blasted me like that. I took it in. After like 1 hour or two, I drafted a very comprehensive and calm message, and then I sent it to him to let him know I resumed early, 30 minutes earlier. Then I close around 20, 30 minutes later. and then still you are complaining. What? I don't get paid overtime. What do you want me to do? There is nothing to do for me at work again. I am closing that day. If there is something for me to do, I am sensible enough to get it done myself without somebody telling me, because I know this is urgent, and then I know how to prioritize on my own. But there is nothing. Why do you want me? Thank God is somebody that has, a good understanding and can own up to his own mistake, and he owned up to it, and since that day I am free. Now, another thing you can do is to make sure that your induction is robust enough to let employee understand your culture and the boundaries within the organization. For example, when it comes to dealing in the office, when it comes to relating with other employees, when if your handbook and during your induction has mentioned a lot of these things, then people will understand. And then people that are the bosses in the organization, the leaders, people that they look up to, they are doing the same thing. Then that is, the easiest way to set boundary and maintain boundary. If I, as the lead of the department, I am not talking to you anyhow. We are in a meeting. I have never looked at any one of you because you make a mistake and say any statement that is negative to you. Excuse me to say this word. I have worked in a place where the GM will just look at people and call them stupid idiots, anyhow, words like that in a meeting for a very tiny mistake. If I have
Mm.
not done that to any of my colleague or juniors we are meeting, I don't see why any employee that is coming in or will do the same thing, because I'm not doing it. But if I am doing it, they are going to learn from me. If the women that are working with me, or if you're a woman, the guys that are working with you, you don't respect them, the way you talk, there is no boundary, the way you behave with them, that is what most people are going to emulate. And if you are not doing it and you see an employee that is doing it, the best thing is to call them immediately. Don't wait till when you get too much evidence or this thing has go on for a long time. Call them immediately and you reprimand them. If is enough, what they have done is enough for them to
Mm.
get them off that organization, so that they are not going to corrupt your culture, then so be it. Because people have a way of doing. If this employee is an high flying employee, they are the best employee in their department, and then one day they are guilty of sexual harassment. Because it's Mr. Wale who is the best, staff in that department, you don't want to touch them. If you once you have
Mm.
done that, you have opened the door of abyss for everybody to just do whatever they like, because yes, you
Very
have given pass. So it all boils down to boundary is all boiling down to what the organization is willing to tolerate, number one. Two, what they are willing to reward, and then what also the leaders are willing to do that people will emulate them. Like I said, number one, what they are willing to tolerate. If the companies, if the employees have seen that this is what our organization. I have worked in a place where one person cannot sit on another person's seat, because the company,
mm.
the leader of the company does not tolerate it. They think your seat is your designation. For example, you are the HR manager. That seat is the HR manager. You cannot be a cleaner or something and just come and sit on that seat. No, 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 no. If you are also an HR manager, you cannot go to a seat of a sales rep and just go and sit on their seat like that anyhow, because you are not that designation. So that they are not able, they don't want to tolerate that. They don't want to tolerate late coming and all that. That is how to set boundary, because it's part of your culture. And then what do you reward again? As somebody, stolen from the organization. And again, when you are nominating people for employee of the month, his name is still there, a known thief. You you understand. So it depends on what you are willing to tolerate, what you're willing to
Mm.
reward, and what the leaders of the organization are doing that they want people to emulate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really elaborate. I must borrow the language used by the other people. I hope I have gotten what he or she got. Okay. So far, we've seen how Mr. Olawale has taken his time to explain to us why work is with them be all the relationship in things in the workplace. He has also shown us what you have said, you must have learned a lot. There are many boundary issues in the workplaces, but the most common of them all, he practically wipes them because I actually to ask some of these boundaries, what are the most common of them all. So he has taken time, and these are things we see happening. In fact, it cuts across all establishments, whether
Yeah.
private or and we believe this to be a wake up. For those who are consultants, please wake up from thy sleep, wake up from thy slumber, and for the employers to who are mindful certain toxic, this is also important. We've also seen how employees can set and maintain healthy boundaries with fellow colleagues, managers, because we're not giving them. Okay, the message came from the same with you. Okay, Olawale, but permit me, of course, it permits me to act for them. What strategies to maintain boundaries in a remote or flexible work environment?
Okay. For remote and flexible work environment, the best thing is to have SOPs on a very robust SOPs on the way the organization wants to work, how the for example, every employee has to have a JD and their KPI, right? And how they are going
Mm,
to achieve it. Now, how the employees will be working, what they are permitted to do, the hours, the submission of their work report, and all that has to be guided by an SOP, a robust SOP that every employee is aware of and they have to follow strictly. Because, for example, I am in Lagos, you are working for me, you are in Abuja, and then this is what
mm,
you're supposed to do in a week and submit by this time. If it's something I have just communicated to you with my mouth, then I can say this week, and then next week I am saying another thing, and you understand me. But if this is a written policy that has been signed and every employee is aware of it, there is, like I have explained, there is a way you communicate to people that they understand. It's not just saying a lot, but making sure, ensuring that they understand what you're saying. So if there is an SOP in place where people know this is what they are supposed to do. If they don't do this, this will be the consequences. If they don't do this, if they don't do that, that is going to be the consequences. So this is the best way to maintain boundary, whether it's boundary regarding work, boundary regarding moral. Because if you are talking of moral boundaries too, even for example, in a place of work, you can have something called sexual harassment policy that can go from
is it
boss to employees, or juniors to senior, from man to woman. From You can draft a policy like this where people know. So I know that if I do something like this, this is going to be the consequences as stated in the policy. And when you act, you have something serious and solid to back you up, because it's already in the policy. If you go to Ministry of Labor, the matter gets to court or anything, the employee already knows this is policy. This is what is, you understand what I'm saying, acceptable in a place of work. So that is it.
wow? This is really really basic. I know that we are going to dive into this issue, but I never knew to dive into it like this. It's getting more and more. Ah, um, I'm up in. So, Lawale, okay. Uh, okay, this is coming from YouTube this time.
Okay.
From YouTube. Okay. I love this statement. Boundaries are dead of professionalism. Quotable.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So let me just add to the question. Maybe more like follow up. I want to ask you a question for what our viewers
Okay.
will be asking. Okay? Um, now the angle of employees.
Hmm.
How can these persons how can they address boundary violations of unprofessional, because we know that employers already they have certain power. Now, in case of the employees, should they
mm,
come across this, how can they address it when their boundaries are being violated or
violated.
they are or certain unprofessional behaviors?
Unprofessional behaviors. Okay, right. So, um, like I said, much in an organization has to do with the leader of the organization, the people that are leading. Like I have said, what they are willing to tolerate, what they are willing to reward, what they want people to emulate. If, for example, let's say you have an open office where six, seven, 10 people are working, but you have one guy who is always playing music, loud music in the office, and there are a lot of people that are doing stuff off their head, and they don't want your music as disturbance now. And they have talked to the guy, is not listening. When they go to the line manager, what is the line? Because I always encourage people, their reporting structure has to be in every organization. This really help to maintain boundary. Before you go out of your department and jump to the HR office, first make sure you talk to your supervisor if there is a supervisor. If the supervisor is not doing fine, what you have said you don't agree with him, then you can go to your line manager. If your line manager is not saying what you want, if there's an HOD, you do. If still, that is when you come to the HR. If not, if the matter is not related to salary or something that directly, you can just get the answer from HR. If it's something like this you want to resolve, you go through that line before you escalate it away from your department. Now, if you have talked to your line manager, the line manager should have been trained before now to understand boundaries, things that are acceptable in the office and things that are not acceptable. If the manager is somebody that has been trained and is excellently deserving the position he's occupying, he should immediately shut down that guy. If he shuts down that guy immediately, that is going to be, you trust me, nobody else in that department is going to try it again, because they have seen a sample of somebody that tries this, and this is what it is. Now, in case of, let's say, for example, is even the manager himself that is violating the policy, maybe sexual harassment, for example. A boss is telling a girl, if you don't follow me, I am going to terminate you or getting you. That is when I say a organization should encourage cultures where people can speak their mind freely without having to fear retribution. They should know that whatever they tell to the HR or the senior management is safe, and they will act upon it, with the right mind. You understand what I'm trying to say? I have worked in an organization where an expatriate, I will not mention the nationality, and an expatriate is just going to touch women anywhere you want to touch them, once they are alone in the office. It might be cleaner, it might be an helper, it might be one of the staff of the department. We just touch them inappropriately. But because
Hmm.
I have been hearing of this, but nobody will come to my table and come and explain to me, because people are timid and they are afraid. Even though at the organization we run an HR department that is very open, and people know that they can trust us. Still, people knows this man is a close friend to the MD, who is the highest ranking officer in the organization. They know is they are not just close at work, they are like family friend from home. They are very close. And if I report this man and he gets out, my job is going to go away from me. One day, he tried this with like a 17-year-old girl, 17 or 18-year-old girl, very, very little girl.
Hmm.
The girl didn't come to the office. She just messaged me on WhatsApp. Okay, I am experiencing this. Actually, the girl is a new employee. She just joined like 3, 4 days at the time.
Hmm.
So
That's too early.
yeah, so because of that ignorance, she doesn't know who he is or his authority or something. So she does not harbor that fear that other people are harboring. She just explained to me on WhatsApp, Oga, this man is doing like this, he's doing like that to me. He said, who? He said, I don't even know his name. So I sent pictures of 4 expatriates intentionally. I know who might try that. So I intentionally sent 4 pictures of expatriates to him. I said, choose who among these people. He pointed to that man. That man said, "Okay, no problem. Are you serious? Get me some evidences." The lady went to his office, make some little recordings. The man trying to, "Oh, leave me alone," like that, and send it to me. The next day, I went to the MD office. I explained to him, even though we don't have enough evidences, but believe me, let me tell you, this is going on. And if you are thinking because we don't have the evidence, you are not going to act on. One day, this is going to blow out open, and it's going to be more than what you and I can handle. It's going to hurt the company badly. The MD called a meeting immediately, did his investigation, try everything out. He realized that man is not even the only person doing it. There are two of them, like that, like that. He immediately sanctioned them. One was sent back to the country, like immediately the second or third day. The other man was shifted out of the factory. He started working for on the field like that for like 3 4 months. Then they send him back to his country. So it depends on the organization and their culture. Some places, for example, imagine now that the MD, who is the highest ranking officer, is the one doing it. Who do you want to report to now? Unless you want to go and uh, unless you want to turn it to something that you report to the police or Ministry of Labor, or something that you take to court, which can also work. Normally it should work. Ministry of Labor, you should be able to get some kind of, yeah. So those are the places. So that those are other places you can go. Human rights too. People go to human rights to go and say things like this. It's just that the way Nigerian issue is. Sometimes if you don't know somebody, if you don't know this, nobody's listening to you. But if you have your way, those are other places you can go. You can go to Human Rights Commission. You can go to Ministry of Labor. You can go to the police to go and report. Especially if even though the highest ranking officer you can talk to is the one perpetrating this evil. There's nothing else you can do other than to go through those places. But if not, then you can talk to whoever is superior to that person, or to the alignment, to the HR. Now, what I will encourage, or what I will let people know, is that avoid spreading rumors around. If you know something like that is happening, instead of telling this employee and that employee and that, and turn it into gossip. If you want a problem to be solved in an organization, you go directly to the authority that has something to do with the problem, and we solve it. Not going around and gossip. You have anything that you didn't report officially is just a gossip, right? It's just a workplace gossip. You didn't report. So if you want something to be done to whatever you are facing, you have to summon the courage to go and report to the right authority. Thank you.
So much, so much. That is really deep. That's a really deep one. Oh, we have a
Thank
question
you.
on LinkedIn. Oh, there we go. Link again. This is coming from Oluwase. James. Okay. She asked them, what can the HR do where there is conflict leading to fight between a senior and a junior staff? Wow. Where the junior staff sustained major injury, HR intervened and prepared to sanction the senior staff who was obviously guilty. But this is this is really a deep one to say that.
I understand what this person is saying, and it's very simple actually. If two people have fought at the place of work, normally is a matter of termination. It doesn't matter who is right or who is wrong. You understand? Physical assault is not acceptable at the place of work. For example, if you come now and you slap me, you are the first person that slapped me. Immediately I slap my own back. Both of us are going. It's as easy as that. It
Exactly.
doesn't matter whether you slap me 3 times, I slapped once, or you slap 10 times, I am only able to stone you once.
Carry ourselves.
If somebody slap you and you have evidence that they have slapped you, there are witnesses, there are people there, there is a camera or something, immediately run out of the place, avoid the person, and go and report. If this is a functional place of work, is a place of work that have a good level of compliance, trust me, that employee, no matter who they are part of that system. They are going to be
Hmm.
it doesn't matter whether you are the one that even say something that provoked them, because sometimes you say something that provoked them. But now, whatever you have said can be denied or can be taken away. That is why I like employee to be smart. But if you have slapped somebody or you have beaten them, their face is swelling, you cannot take that back. Once they go to the HR or to whoever that look at my face, Mr. Wale, slap me or beat me, and Abdul Mumin and other guys is able to say, yes, truly, I was there. So, then Mr. Wale is no longer part of the organization. With immediate effect, is even going to be a summary dismissal. It's going to be a
Okay,
summary dismissal.
Mr. Olawale. I
Okay.
the question that this viewer is asking, the complete version, I can see that from the back end. She was talking about that the HR staff intervened and prepared a sanction letter against the senior staff who was
Mm-hmm.
obviously guilty, but the
Mm.
management refused to sign off the sanction letter
Mm.
based on favor and preventing the HR from enforcing the sanction. Wow.
Mm.
It
That
this
is
person
what.
so in this instance.
See, actually, when people come on LinkedIn and write, HR did this, HR did that, HR did this, HR did that, I just laugh because most of those things, HR didn't do even 10% of them. That is the work of management you are seeing. You have forgotten that the HR is also an employee. And HR never approve anything. They just recommend. They can recommend termination, you recommend promotion, you recommend salary for this person, you recommend this culture, you recommend this strategy, you recommend. The management are the one approving it. Now, by the law,
Mm,
by the policy, they are still fighting. These two people has to go. The management says no. What will the HR do? There's nothing they can do.
mm,
And do you know the funniest part? You cannot even come out and tell your employees that me, I have done my own. Oh, they say you should not go. It's your management fault. Or this. No, you cannot talk like that, because if you talk like that, you are undermining your management. You could even lose your job as an HR professional. So the best thing you would do is to come out and say, see, we're going to try to look for a way to. He's not even happy with it. The HR himself is not happy with it, because that is not the way it's supposed to be, no matter what they are supposed to be, what is supposed to be, no matter who is involved. If you assault somebody physically, you are supposed to go. Even the HR is not happy with it, but his principals, his organs say, look, you cannot sack this person. We forbid it. What can he do? He doesn't have any power. You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah.
that is, like I said, there are some red flags you have to look up to. You have to, be careful when you are working in a place. If this happen in your organization and they have been siding people like that, note that that is a red flag. If you are valuable, if you know your worth, you have to get yourself out of that place.
Wow. Okay, so
Oh, 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 I think the internet is. I think our host is having some challenges with our network. We should just wait for her for a minute for her to rejoin. Thank you.
Okay. Oh,
You're welcome.
please. My apologies, please.
Okay.
I was carted away before that. These are some of the
Yeah,
things
okay.
we experience in the world.
Yeah.
So I believe by
Yes.
now used to things like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Exactly.
sorry, please. Sorry, our viewers. Okay, so I just hope that Madam Oluwase James will know how to handle this HR problem in our workplace. So before the internet gruesomely took me off life, there was a question I saw coming from YouTube this time. And I believe
Mm.
that will be the last question. That's going to be the last question we're going to have for today on the show. Okay,
Okay.
this will be the question. Um, I know it's trying to load. The question is trying to load. I saw it. Okay, it's still loading. It's still loading. At least I wanted to bring it to the fore so that everyone can see it. But it's quite visible, very clear at the back end. I want to bring it out so that others viewing can also learn from the question. Just for you, okay? But okay, the question goes this way: if it finally displays, I'm going to show it. I'm going to display it on the screen.
Okay.
The question from YouTube is asking, think inequality of bargaining power due to no jobs and the slow, costly administration of justice is the bane of not being able to speak out against micromanaging other workplace ills?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the question.
Yes. The answer is yes. It's part, not all, but is a major part um, because there are no jobs, no enough opportunity for the population of skilled workers, or workers generally that we have in Nigeria. Sometimes this makes employers behave in in a certain way. All right. So also, because this the our justice system in Nigeria, we all know, is somehow. If you want to get a justice for the simplest issues in court, you might need to be patient for 3 or 4 years on the average, which is a long time for somebody who does not have enough resources to see that through. Yeah. Imagine this is just a problem between me and my employer, and I have to wait for 3 years. Court date, you shift court, you shift, you have to pay lawyers and all that. And then you have to, the trauma of you not even knowing whether you are going to get justice or not, you have to live with that for 3 years, is, something that is not easy to do. So people,
Just
employers that behave this way, they also know this, and that is why they are doing what they are doing. Oh, you don't want to collect 60,000 naira, 70,000 naira, don't worry, there are a lot of people that are going to collect it. They are going to collect the job for even 40,000 naira, although there is a catch to that too. They too, let me use a popular Nigeria word. They too, they are saying shege, because you see companies like that, they have high turnover rates. Employees will be leaving every now and then. You employ somebody today, they work for 2 or 3 months. As soon as they see a better job, like, or opportunity like this, they jump ship. You employ somebody like this, after 2, 3, 4 months, they jump to another company. So you see them that in a year, sometimes in a year, you have 50 employees, more than 70% of them, you have changed them within a year. What are you doing? You have to go back from the drawing board, start training people again, start showing them your culture, start teaching them this and all that all over again. But some people would rather do that than to do what is right to the workforce. So be it. Since we don't really have people that are checkmating these things and are enforcing law. Imagine if the government even say this is sometimes minimum wage. For 3, 4, 5 years, you have some states that will implement it. Some states will not implement it for like 5 years, 6 years. So if government can say something and they are not able to back it by themselves or implement it, why should they, where they don't have the moral ground to talk to, sole proprietorship or companies or private, entities that have not done the same. So what you have said is right. This is the reason why we are where we are today. Thank you. I think our host is experiencing another network issue again. You can see image is stiff. I think we should wait for her for a few minutes before we call it a day. Also, to answer your question further, that is exactly why most companies does not want to, implement salary bench. Like they they prefer to bargain with employees because they know if we are getting you from a place where your salary is cheaper, it doesn't matter if we are paying 100,000 naira to somebody on your level here. We can see that where you are coming from, you are getting 40,000 naira or 50. Why should we pay you more than 75,000 naira? Instead of them to pay you according to what they are paying in this organization, people on your level in this organization, they would rather pay you based on what you are earning where you are from. They are not paying you based on the value, the experience, and what you bring. So, there are a lot of things to this, but like I have said, the way our country is, that is why we are where we are now. If you have questions, please ask why we wait for our host. Okay, you are back. Welcome.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think I hope I can be heard.
Welcome back.
talking of occupational hazards. Occupational hazard at this finance. Oh, I'm back. I'm back. Well back
Yeah,
again.
you're back. Welcome back.
Yes, I am back. And they chose to let me go. Pharaoh decided to let me go. This is something else. You see, our internet issue is something that it needs to be given attention, and definitely to be given attention some other time, because compared to our na- African countries, I know that it's not always that strong. The bandwidth will not always be that strong, but it's well managed.
Yeah.
So why
Yes. Yes.
and I sometimes wonder how our remote workers are coping.
Uh,
With the
hmm.
I
If you
really
have
wonder.
ever worked remote jobs, you know if you want to do something online like this, you have to profile two network provider, for example, MTN and Airtel or Glo and this, to make sure once it's fucking up, you just switch to another one because they are not reliable at all.
Actually, I'm actually juggling between three of them. As in among three
You see,
networks, and this is
among
the
the
result.
you
Yes,
see this
yes,
this is
look
terrible,
at what. So our
terrible.
providers to make things easy, make life easy for workers. This is work too. Help us enjoy our work. I mean, it's from taxpayers' money they're using to sustain most of the things you do. And these workers, if they don't secure the bag, how can they be patronized with you? How can they buy your pizza, your
Yeah,
laptop?
yeah,
So
exactly.
things that we pay attention.
That attention
We
to.
cry at their workplaces. We also beg. We are pleading, please, internet providers, make life easy for our workers. Make life easy for everyone. We actually work online. Everyone works online. This is the digital age. So we don't need to be terrorized all the time. Because this is a form of terrorism. At
This
this
is it. Yeah, yeah, you are right.
point. So, so to our viewers, thanks so much. Please, this is how far the much questions we can take on the program today. We've taken our time, and yes, we know that satisfying desire, and I believe we have done justice to that. And we really want to thank Mr. Olawale Olayinka so much for sharing his valuable insights with us. In fact, the insights are invaluable. We cannot value that.
Thank you,
Everyone
thank you,
has
thank you
really
so
been.
much.
We got more than what we even bargained for. I believe this year's has the special, and I really did not like to me after all. For leading me to Mr. Waka, and he came really prepared. In fact, he was born to do this. So
Thank
as
you.
we are the program, I hope our audience has gained a deeper understanding of the importance of building strong, respectful relationships in the workplace, both employers and employees. In as much as we are celebrating our employees today, there is no way we cannot tag the employers along, because they are also employee to themselves. Yes, that's what they say. As a business owner, a company owner, you also have to draft out salary payments for yourself, of course.
Yeah,
So apply them. So to summarize, we have seen or we discussed the importance of effective communication, setting boundaries. All right. Okay, Mr. Olawale is already gone. So thank you, viewers. Thank you all. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The internet has really been messy. As you can see, all that Liz said has been said. So we are talking about what we discussed so far, the importance of communicating effectively at the workplaces, setting boundaries, resolving conflicts properly, okay? And of course, we have to prioritize employee well-being, and our leaders should be held accountable where necessary. So as we move forward in our professional journeys and every other thing that surrounds our career lives, let's continue to strive for creating workplaces that are supportive, inclusive, and productive. Thank you very much for tuning in again. Do not forget to engage with us on LinkedIn with your thoughts and questions. Mr. Olayinka, of course, is on LinkedIn, as you know. If not, we won't be having this live in the first place. If you have more questions, feel free to approach Mr. Olayinka and ask more. We can continue this conversation later via chat. We run far behind time. So until next time on this show, remember to keep building bridges and not walls. Goodbye, viewers, and have a blessed day.